and he's been very helpful. He's helped me, and I appreciate it. Now, I can't speak for the past. I can't speak for the why. And yesterday, it was a great day for Daviess County because we had 3 commissioners hear this, and I didn't ask for their vote of approval. I asked for their support of doing this, and we had a unanimous vote. I asked for an additional request, and that was funding towards a conference, convention, and visitor center. And unanimously, they all voted. And I appreciate each one of them. Because for us to come together, you know, am I naive to believe that we're going to have a 7-0 vote? No. Would I want that? You know why I want that? Because I want us to work together and have a vision together and a plan. And that's my role. That's my responsibility to you. That's why I share with you the numbers. I'm talking to you what the purpose and the why. But I also believe that we have a great opportunity, and I don't want to belabor 69, but I'm going to tell you a project that I did as soon as I got here, even though I had other asks. One of the projects for me was having traveled, right, and been around some places. For the life of me, I couldn't understand why we didn't have exit signs, namely right there where we're at on the interstate. And when you look at exit 62, I launched this sign program. Seen it? Have you been out there? Let me tell you how this happened. I couldn't understand why there was no exit signs between Evansville and Bloomington. Yes, there's one at the co-op right up there at Crane. Small, you've seen it. But with the exit that we have at 62, with all our, you know, I call it Restaurant Row, we've got gas. Our good friends and our, they're stakeholders in our community now, and that's the Hux organization. When I talked to them, it started with joining the chamber and being involved and doing the ribbon cutting and the grand opening, but I said, I need your help. We need to have this started, and I need to know if you'll do it. And they said, absolutely. And they immediately got put out there, and it was 1 month ahead of schedule, and they put Godfathers out there. Well, guess what happened? Casey started calling me. Hey, we got to be out there. And free enterprise, capitalism, and competition started. Next thing you know, Arby's corporate called me. Hey, we got to be out there. Baymont's out there, Holiday Inn Express. Next thing you know, we've got our food, gas, right, lodging, and our attractions going out there. And this is just the start of the many things we can do for Daviess County. And the minute we get a project started at the Eleanor Oden exit, you're going to see me hammering this away. It's important. I actually had Oden businesses say, I want to be a part of that. Unfortunately, there's NDOT guidelines, and you've got to be so many miles off, depending upon what type of business you are. But I'm working with them, and I'll be before you again talking about an ordinance on a sign, because I can R&D, and that's not research and development. I've already done that. It's called rob and duplicate this entire program and install it there, and we can administer it as a chamber and as a visitor bureau. But we want to do that. The 2-mile buffer, so our friends like Burger King, Subway, Walmart, they're too far off the interstate to be a part of this program, but I'm going to create a program that they can participate in the very same way that you can with this. But these little types of projects seem simple and little, but it has a big impact. And these businesses pay to be out there. On average, it's about $300 a month, and that's each, together, each direction. $175, depends on the type of business you are, but they're paying to be out there. And this is just the start of other things, whether it's the Conference Convention Tourist Center, whether it's promoting sports and recreation tourism. We've got some great assets in our county. Jameson has got a great vision and strategy and a plan. I want to be able to support that with these dollars. I want to be able to support all of our organizations, all of our clubs, and all of those that are doing everything they can with their own dollars to promote Daviess County and bring people to us. And that's why I have the ask. I can't explain, Mike, why, but we're here today, and we've got everybody on board. I'm just asking for your vote of confidence to go on board, and then let me go up to the Capitol and do my thing and push this through. I promise I'm here to serve you, your pleasure. I'm here to serve the other boards and organizations I'm a part of, to do what's good for us. And again, I know how these things go, and I just want to be able to work together and everybody have a support. If you have a question, please ask.
All right, I'm gonna try to ask it clearer than I asked last time. So if a new major hotel chain wanted to come into our area, would they be negatively impacted by a 9% innkeeper's tax? Would they care? Would they not care? Do you know the answer or not? I just need to know that.
Well, I can only tell you the one I do know of. And they have stalled. They've come back wanting more money, and they got a $7 million project that they've asked me for, $1,600. They've asked EDC for additional money, and I'm laughing at you. You're asking me for $2,500 on a $7 million project. Seems absurd to me, right? But I can tell you, regardless of where they are at this moment, I did tell them that this is what we want to do. And if you're an innkeeper and you don't have conference space, but you have a salesperson in that office that can sell a conference space, and that's exactly what they'd be able to do. If it's that property or any property we choose to develop, it's certainly going to be to their benefit because they're going to be able to get a commission off that sale of that conference room. They're going to fill up rooms, and this additional innkeeper's taxes will not negatively impact them. It will actually positively impact them because now I've got the resources to give them what they need and any other body or organization or individual is promoting Daviess County.
Okay, good. Additionally, my math might be off. I'm not sure, but when I did the math, it came to $150,000 in additional revenue instead of.
Well, you took the total 9%. If you take 4% on, if you just do 200,000, right? When you look at it, if it's 150%, depending on what you started with, that's even better, and there's nothing wrong with it. Think of all the good things we're going to be able to do with that.
It's just a giant leap for me. When you look at an 80% increase in a tax, that is a big number.
Well, you know what I think of?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the things we can do with it, it's going to shock everybody. It's going to be an opportunity that we don't have. Either I ask you for an additional $150,000 as this body, or we let the market, the free market, and let people determine if they want to visit Daviess County. If they choose yes, then that's where they'll pay and contribute to what we're trying to accomplish.
Is there not like a two-step process we could do over time?
We've been working on that 2 steps since 1987. Unfortunately, it's a 4-step dance right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a question from the audience.
Well, I just want to add Sensworth. Used to be in that position 20 years ago. Previous position dealt with several hotel developers. What they're looking at is what do you have going in the community as far as are you progressive? This, I think, shows them that yes, you are progressive tourism. We have a great opportunity with what's around us, mainly going on down at French Lick. They're running some tours out now. COVID has upset everything. But I see it as very positive that they're looking at traffic flow on the highways at both locations, looking at what organizations do you have to help them. I think they would view it very positively. At the end of the day, it's not money out of their pocket. Additional charge onto the rooms. Why we support it. Really don't see a downside to it.
Just something I'm supposed to say is the live stream quit recording and it's back recording now. So all those who are watching, whatever you've missed, it is recorded if you want to get that 5 minutes that you missed. Sorry. Questions? Right?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, wrongs in my that's what 19 years restaurant. In my capacity, work with several hotel developers. This has never come up, not once. And Tom mentioned that tax passed along to the county. It's not being taken on by that hotel developer. It's added to their fee. And add to that,
And I might add, this is a quality of place. This is quality of life. These are other things that this helps fund. And, you know, I love headlines, especially for my kids that we lead in the football program. But when you see a headline like yesterday, innkeeper's tax increase again, to me that's negative, right? My job is to be positive. Now look, I'm not, if you knew me personally, you know I'm not just rainbows and unicorns. I'm not. But what I am is a person that believes that we deserve better, that we have the same opportunity to win and compete. And our mayor knows this. Some of our commissioners knows this. I certainly know Bryant knows this. He serves with me on my chamber board. And that is, whether it's us applying for a grant to help our residents or businesses, whether it's promoting an event, I'm all about supporting those that want to be better. And I think it's our time. You know, this is the first, but other than yesterday, as I told the commissioners, this is the first time I've been in this building. And I'm so proud of it because it's more than what I expected. I mean, I've seen it on Zoom and stuff, but it's not like walking in. And this was a major investment. This truly cost Daviess County taxpayers dollars, right? What I'm discussing today, it enhances the lives of Daviess County residents.
Any additional questions for Joe? All right. Thanks, Joe.
I asked that you make the motion to approve the resolution. I believe
We're getting ready to do that.
that's a good
Mike?
thing.
I will make the motion to approve the resolution with the caveat that it gets carried and passed in the legislation this year. I don't want any more of this strung out, yeah, we're gonna get it done. I want it done this year, and that's how my motion's gonna be. I'll approve the 9%, but I want it done this year.
It listed the two, Senator Basler and Lindauer.
I mean, you know, we voted to do this 2-3 years ago, and the ball got dropped. It never happened. So here we are back again, trying to reinvent the wheel on something we've already done.
Well, Grant, were you suggesting that we add to the resolution, though, the names of Representative Ellington and Representative Borders as well, or?
I just want to see it get done. I'm tired of batting this thing down, kicking the can down the road. We have.
Well, I have a motion. Mr. Sprinkle, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously?
No, it's
No.
not. I am opposed at that level. I appreciate Joe's enthusiasm and his vision, but I'm more in, I can't go with the full 4%, so I'm gonna be opposed to it.
Okay. You have anything else?
No, thank you very much. I appreciate each one of you. Thank you.
Okay.
And I will do my part and apply the appropriate pressure to see
Please,
this through.
please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we need to go backwards, because after Baker Tilly was the innkeeper with Joe, but we skipped meetings since we had on the call, so have a chance to review the minutes of the meeting from last month. If so, when you get to that point, have a nomination to accept.
So moved.
So moved by Tom, second.
Second.
By Matt, all in favor? Okay. Motion carries. Next up, salary ordinance amendments. Adult probation, $200 for the annual bonus. There's nobody here for that. Do you want to explain that?
The salary ordinance amendment, as you know, gives us the permission to pay, and so some things have been moved around. Adult protective services line item had been moved, and it's to do with, both of these have to do with the movement of funds. It's not additional funds.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mike Myers, second
I'll second it.
by Joanne. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have the animal control, $13.71 an hour to $8,912 annually. Basically, we're just moving that from the sheriff's department to the jail budget. And Gary's going to talk to us about it.
Right, the animal control has been in the sheriff budget since I think it was accepted, whenever it was approved. And now apparently that part-time position is eligible to receive retirement benefits, and there's no retirement benefits related to PERF in the sheriff budget. It would be a PERF, before it wasn't no big deal where it was at, but now they have to pay some retirement benefit out of that into PERF, and there's nothing in the sheriff budget for PERF, so we figured the easiest way and the cleanest way to do it is just move it to the sheriff's budget, or to the jail budget, security center budget.
Just moving it from one to the other for the
Moving one to
purpose.
the other, not asking for another penny.
I'd make a motion, we approve this.
Motion by Dave to approve to move it. Second, Tom Schaefer. All in favor? All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thanks.
Gary, I think you're up again.
Up again. What am I talking about now?
2020 year-end report.
All right. I passed that out to you this morning. I'm sure you haven't had time to look over it. But in 2020, in the COVID era, we still managed to take in 1,056 people into the jail. There was a lot of long forms. If you need those numbers, you'll have to ask Dan, because I didn't get them from him. And that's down. Usually we're 1,200, 1,300 people that get booked into the security center every year. Like I said, most were long form this year. Top 10 arrests were battery, DUI, drug possession, those type of arrests. It says that we had no fatalities in 2020. We did have 2 fatalities in Daviess County. However, they required reconstruction, so the state police worked them too. One was up on 231 by Crane, and one was out on the interstate. The kitchen meals, during the COVID, the kitchen was shut down for 2 weeks, and we got the numbers down to 100 inmates. And we started at, 112, 100, something like that. We ended up having to cater 4,680 meals. Inmates, they would get like Hardee's or McDonald's for breakfast, and then American Table did lunch, and then they got a couple cheeseburgers or pizza supper. They were tired of pizza by the time we were done. That's not something they get all the time. Of course, we haven't had work release in there. We're using the work release center as part of our quarantining area. Our miles driven for transports was down to 28,183. Again, I think that has a lot to do with COVID. Courts wasn't hearing as many court cases. Judge Sebecki is actually using the Zoom meeting once in a while, so that's helped out some. We hope we're able to continue to do that in the future. Still had the road crew out last year. City Park, landfill, Loden Park, street cleaning, they do about everything. They do help out a lot down in Oak Grove Cemetery. We were down on holding some inmates last year. Maintenance Dave asked me the last meeting if I seen any huge expenses coming up. I discovered a couple now since he asked the question.
Budget's already set.
Yeah, I already said it now. Our sewage pit, it's a disaster. It was designed bad. I don't know. We're looking at maybe changing a little bit on that. But that's really the only building expense I see other than we'll have to get into that a little bit better. And I'll have to be more educated and be able to explain it to you better whenever we get to that. Now the sheriff office year-end report, about the same. We received 15,353 CAD calls. That's calls for service. If you notice, our EMS numbers went up almost 2,000. That has a lot to do with the way the commissioner or the contract was written with the hospital. If the hospital needs an ambulance, yeah, the hospital runs the ambulance service, but if they need an ambulance, they call the sheriff's office, and we have to dispatch their ambulance. Used to be Wayne had his own, so if a nursing home needed an ambulance, they'd just call Wayne directly. Now they call us. So we end up keeping a lot of their times and those type of things. Handgun permits went through the roof and are still going through the roof in the current political climate. That's all that's about.
Can't get ammo, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're having trouble finding ammo for ourselves. We did not qualify as much last year as we usually did just because we can't get our hands on the ammunition like we used to. It's expensive nowadays. The only other large expense I can see possibly coming is the body cameras. We don't have them. The city has them, and we priced some, but they were a little out of the world years ago. I don't like the way the law is written for that particular statute. It requires us to get the video out to the news media as quickly as we can. Well, let's say something happens in this room, and none of you people were involved in it, and it was Mike. Well, I have to go through and blot out all your faces in the video. Now, there's software out there that's helping that, but I don't know. I think the state's going to make us do it. The talk that the governor will come up with some funding to help. How much that's going to be? That's just the rumblings underneath up in Indianapolis. I'm not asking for it anytime soon. I'm hoping that the law changes to where we don't have to pass it out just as soon as something happens. Because all they use it for really is to incite panic and gloom across the country. Yep.
Here. I see that we're fully staffed, or you're fully staffed as a department.
No,
Is-
go ahead.
That's what it said, I thought.
Well, we were then.
Well, okay, so is
Yeah.
staffing an issue, and what's the turnover run?
We lose about 15 to 20 employees a year. We're constantly training someone. I had a jailer who recently quit. He was a supervisor on third shift. He went to Good Samaritan to be a security guy. There's no real benefit in being a supervisor at the jail. We did get all the jail salaries matched up to where they should be. Dwayne Jolliffe, deputy, left in November. Went to RMC. You know, it's hard to find people to work. Whenever they come in, they'll do anything they want to do, but then 2 years into it, they're like, well, why aren't I working Monday through Friday, 8 to 4? Like, well, whenever you interviewed, the one thing we said was, you're probably going to be working weekends every other weekend for the next 20 years, and you're going to have to work holidays, you know, but they get in there, lives change. You know, they get families, they want their weekends off. You know, we got a lot of weekend details. Well, when you look at the road deputies, the 10 that work, they don't want to work their only Saturday off in a month, 2 Saturdays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a different generation. And yeah, we are having trouble finding people to replace these guys. Mike Heschelman, of course, he's very ill. Been in talks with him on what his best move is. We're currently in the process for hiring deputies to replace them. I still got 2 at the academy, or going to the academy. They're sitting over there watching videos, and they'll be going up soon. They should have went through with Hunter last year, but COVID knocked that out. The academy has said that they will not let another COVID event or outbreak shut them down again, so we'll see what happens. I think I got about 20% of my staff vaccinated. Some just aren't going to do it. But yeah, it is getting harder to find people. We're always training someone.
Yep.
Seems like, and especially in radio, they're just as compromised. You know, it's all fine and dandy till you got to work a 4-hour shift on Christmas morning.
I got you.
You know, so
Thank you.
yep.
Any other questions as far as the year-end sheriff report? Okay, we kind of skipped Mr. Taylor there because we're, hang on, Gary, we're letting you finish everything while you're up
Oh,
there.
that works for me too.
So if you want to go your commissary report,
All right, this is a report that I'm required by the legislature to produce to the council twice a year. If you have any questions about it, I'll be glad to answer them. A lot of this revenue is generated from the phones and the texting instruments that they got down there. There's currently a bill in the United States House of Representatives that they are trying to attach to the COVID one, where they reduce these costs down to where most companies aren't even going to be able to provide the equipment to make phone calls for it. We're trying to fight that on a state and national level. That's what's cooking in Washington that we're looking at right now. But
Imagine that.
do what?
Imagine that.
Oh my God. It's something every day, I tell you.
any other questions for Gary? All right,
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Mr. Taylor, sorry, but he was up there, so we let him finish.
Since he's standing there, instead of bringing it back up. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
The reason I'm here today is just talk about the courthouse again. I know I've brought this up to several budget meetings in the last couple of years, and I know we got some new faces up here, and just want to go over it again. We've been talking after we got this annex done to remodel the courthouse, but then we found some issues with the windows and found some issues with the stonework. So that was always a priority to try to get the enveloping done in the building so we don't get any more damage inside. And finally, been working with RQAW and DNR, and we finally did get a mock-up window in the courthouse, finally. So if you guys want to walk over to the courthouse after this meeting, jury room on the 3rd floor, on the southwest corner there. If you walk in the women's bathroom, there's just a standalone window there. It's been completely replaced, and so now we're waiting on DNR approval. And if they approve that window, then we go out to bid probably in 3 or 4 weeks. So that's where we're standing on that project. So the reason I got the $800,000 additional appropriation was because for the window project, I don't know where those numbers are at yet, but I think $800,000 should cover the windows and cover the stonework on the building. That's where we're staying right now. So if you guys have any more questions for me.
How extensive is this remodel thing? In addition to this, what do you?
Okay, so this is just step one of starting that remodel project. We haven't gotten to a final drawing yet of what the building looks like, but it's probably going to be as expensive as this building to remodel that building. But those dollars that we're spending over there is part of that project, so it might be a step process to get through it.
We won't piecemeal as far as money here. Every month ask for something. We'll have a ballpark of what that project's gonna be, but, I mean,
So,
Once you have drawings, you'll have a.
so yeah, so with the delay of this project, we're a year and a half, almost, we're going on 2 years delayed on this project just about. And like I said, I've been talking about those windows and enveloping that building for, I know, 2 budget sessions now. So it's been drawn out. Recently, I've re-engaged the judges with RQAW and Dan Murray to start designing that building again for the second time, and hopefully we get through that process. So we've already got things in place, we've got drawings in place, they know what the square footage of the building is, they got all the blueprints for the building, so hopefully the next process of getting design that building goes faster. Then, once we get a design, then we get some more hard numbers together. But right now, I mean, our mechanical over there is horrible, right? I mean, it's all steam pipes, leaking steam pipes, and they're just on borrowed time right now. So that's gonna be a huge number I know that number is probably gonna be $2 million just to take care of the mechanicals alone. But you really can't do anything with the mechanicals until we figure out how to design the building, how the flow is, right? So that's where we are with that. But it's, hopefully here in 6 months, we could probably start talking about numbers of where that remodel is gonna be.
How many year project do you plan on this being, do you think?
Well, so it's gonna be a working schedule because we've got judges over there, we've got 2 courtrooms running full time, right? So if we keep them over there, it's gonna be a longer process. If we move them off site while we're doing remodel, maybe to the basement of this building, I don't know where, I'm just saying, we've got a completely unfinished space in this basement down here. We could possibly set up, temporary courtrooms down there. If we get them out of the building, I think the time frame is gonna be quicker. But if we have to leave them in the building over there, it's probably gonna get prolonged, maybe a couple-year project. But if we don't, maybe a year and a half project to get that thing done over there. There's a lot of moving parts, and the courthouse over there, everything, when you walk in the public side, everything you see, all the stonework, like in the basement, every floor up, when you walk into that main public area, that all has to remain exactly the way it is. We can't change that, but every office area can be redesigned and fit the bill for the building in the future.
And there's not a way to do a floor at a time and,
Yeah, all that's been talked about. So right here, what we're talking about with the microphones and how much the courts can put up with trying to record what they're doing, how much it amplifies into the courtroom from a floor below or whatever. That's what the judges are worried about, recording purposes. Like I said, we're just in the beginning stages of this process, so I can't give you complete answers. But once we get closer to design what we want to do or what the judges prefer to do, and we get what their wants are, we'll come back to the fiscal body and see if we could actually afford it, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
So that's where we're at today. So, you guys have any more questions on the courthouse over there?
Just keep us up to date as
Yeah.
much as you can on
Yeah,
that.
as soon as we get back in the design process, I'll try to get on you guys' agenda again to bring some updates of what's going on.
What do we have left, are you gonna talk about this building? What's left here, anything, or we?
So, we're basically done. We've got just a few, I think we're down to 3 items left on our checklist to get this building completely finished and behind us, but, we're 99.9% there.
Any other questions for Mike?
All right, thanks a lot.
We'll do the appropriation when we get to it. Next, Sean Gavhart.
Good morning.
Morning, Sean.
I'm here on behalf of the Southeast Daviess Fire Protection District on an additional appropriation of $150,000 to our current budget. We're currently in the phase of putting a new station up at the Glendale station.
So this is above and beyond your budget for this year, obviously.
Yeah. We have the funds available in our checking account. We've been saving back for, this is something that's been in progress for about 3 or 4 years. And we knew we were gonna have to put up a new station at some point. The station we've got is too small. Doesn't have enough doors, doesn't have the clearance. Getting trucks in and out, you have to put trucks in a certain direction or they'll hit the door frames and stuff like that. So with today's equipment, size of the building that we have, so we've been working with an adjoining landowner on acquiring the ground. We've got all of our ducks in a row on it, ready to proceed.
And you have the money on hand for this then?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. You need a motion?
Yeah, we do, because that's not in the other additional appropriation, so yeah, we'll need a motion.
I would move that we go ahead with the request from Southeast Fire District to this outlay of $150,000 that they already have.
Motion by Mike, second by Matt, all in favor, aye. Same sign, no. Okay, we'll sign this later. Before everybody gets away, there's quite a bit to sign today. Okay, before we get into the appropriations, a few things we need to go over here. We're done with you, I think we're good.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you. There's really no action we can do on this today, and there's no questions, but as far as the Westgate bond, it's come up about paying it off again. We couldn't take any action, my understanding, according to Patty, until there's a lot of moving parts. But we have DC EDC, you obviously have the council, you have the commissioners, you have the redevelopment, but the commissioner said on the redevelopment. So yesterday, the redevelopment includes the 3 commissioners, Mike Haley, and in all fairness, Matt Meredith, asking to proceed to go through with this. There's a lot of money that could be saved on interest. Cash is king. We don't want to be depleting anything that we don't think is going to cause us a problem. Obviously, Bryant's involved. There's a lot of moving things. Patty will talk on the thing, but she's in the process of verifying everything of what we need to do to get this accomplished. It would be nice if it could be done by the end of this month, but that may be a stretch from Patty's standpoint, because her office, they need to verify everything. We definitely want to make sure that we're not depleting cash in a certain bucket or two. To me, nothing should be allowed to come from the general or the rainy day. And I've had Patty generate this here. This is the year-end balances of the general fund for the last 5 or 6 years, so we know where we're going. I actually thought the number would be less than what it is, so it is holding its own. I've also asked Patty to get us the information, and she's going to email to us today or tomorrow, of all the bonds, so that we see not only the amortization schedule, where the money's coming from, and who is guaranteed if the first primary can't. Which gets to we always talk about the 3 bonds, it gets to the 4th bond. The hospital's paying their own bond, and they're financially fine, so I don't mean it in this regard, but obviously we guarantee that. So as a contingency debt, we need to look at that as well, and Patty's gonna give us that. So we do need to move quickly, but, between keeping the commissioners and the DCEDC, who has some big skin in the game, and Ryan has some plans on some things, between the council and the RDC, we're moving as quickly as we can. I do think we need to get it paid off. We can save close to $300,000 in interest. Anytime you can do that, but we do need to remember our cash balances, and that's where Patty is working on those things. So really no action. Hopefully we can have action soon. If we have to have a special meeting during this month, if Patty's office can get things verified and taken care of. I know that's putting, I can say that and then just look over and smile. It's putting a lot on Patty in her office, but they were waiting for yesterday from the RDC. So what comments would you like to make?
Well, thank you for your comments. I agree with you that it's just a timing issue. To accomplish this, it can be accomplished, and we can expedite it as far as the timing, but it would require some special meetings. So that would be directed at your discretion. Let me know what you want to do as a council. We are in the process of verifying the numbers. Once that's done and you make the decisions and direct us on For instance, once it's decided where those funds are gonna come from, we can get the paperwork done, but it has to be advertised. That requires 10 days at the minimum. So we'll have to get that additional appropriation done based on your decisions and then move forward. So it's just a timing mechanism and making sure that we get things in a sequential order that we can follow. Not impossible, obviously, we can do it. Just have to get everything lined up correctly.
I'll stay in contact with Patty, obviously, and then we will see how soon we can have a meeting at that time. Brian has a few things he'd like to say. I think commissioners have a few things they'd like to say. And obviously, in total transparency, Matt and I sit on the DC EDC board. He sits on the RDC. So there's just a lot of moving parts, and we're trying to move them as fast as we can, but process, it's not like corporations where you can make a decision and go. Seems like there's a little more red tape involved, but everybody's on board. Just kind of shifting the buck here, but kind of up to Patty and her department to get us what we're looking at and verify the numbers, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm already in the process, and most of those numbers are already verified or soon to be finalized on that. And then it's just a matter of the council making their decisions, giving us the guidance on how to get the paperwork done.
Okay.
So are you gonna call a special meeting if this gets done?
If we can get it done in the month of February, we will. If she cannot, and the wheels of motion cannot move fast enough, then it will be on the March 10th. I think it's the 10th. But if Patty can, and the reasoning for that, now I'm getting into it, and I didn't want to get into it. Prepayment penalties from a financial institution, I think, are at the end of this month. However, anytime you can say money's money, fungible, money, you know, if we don't save 300 and we save 285, we need to do what's right. But here again,
There's steps to take.
cash is king. If you don't have cash to operate, you're in trouble. So we're beating these numbers 10 times to make sure that everything's fine. Ryan's involved in that. There's total transparency with the commissioners. We tell them what we're doing. I think in the past, sometimes it's been left hand and right hand doesn't know as much what it should be, and everybody's in the same church, hearing the same sermon, sitting on different aisles, transparency everywhere. So we'll make sure they know what's going on as much as what we're doing.
The big thing that we need as far as from council is that decision and a directive of your plan on where to pay it from. Once that's established, we can move forward with paperwork.
Okay. Obviously, there's some funds that's not going to come from. Edit is the primary, but we're verifying what the payoff is, how much is in there, but the expenditures that we have coming out of there versus the 112 that's going in there, that we're fine. And Patty's working on that. And I'm helping her. So as soon as we have verifiable, accurate numbers from the auditor's office, we'll get moving. All right. Thanks, everyone. Now we'll do the additional appropriations. County General Animal Control, 8,500.
We heard from Gary on that.
Yep.
We covered that with
We
Gary.
covered it.
So I'll make a motion to move that since we need a formal motion.
Yes.
Second?
First by Matt, second by Mr. Sprinkle. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Same sign? No? All right. Next one. We just talked about the $800,000 for the windows. I don't know that we have too many questions there because I have a motion to pay that.
So moved.
So moved by Tom first, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Joanne. Both of you put your hand up at the same time. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Same sign?
That window does look good. They did a good job. I went up there and checked that out.
So you're saying you went into the women's restroom?
I actually went up there and I had people check it out, you know, and I said, am I allowed in here? And then, yeah.
Just a question.
I actually had one of the female attorneys up there clear everything out before I went in there.
Good plan.
I couldn't pass that.
I wanted to make sure that it was all clear.
I'll just take your word for it, Matt.
I can verify it, trust me.
The way things are going, it might, well, never mind. Rainy day computer equipment, $3,918.52. Professional services, $50,000.
That's CARES money.
Mhm.
I move to approve that.
Motion by Mike, second by
Second.
Mike Myers. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Same sign. Carries on that. West Bogues capital improvements, that's their cash. This is non-taxpayers' money, correct? It's in their own checkbook, kind of like Sean.
A motion, we approve that.
Motion by Dave, second by
I'll second
Tom
it.
Schick. Tom, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. We have information in your packets that
Forgot
there's
one.
no action available. Oh, I forgot the last one. There's a 66-cent,
Could you just pay that?
well, basically, if Patty and I talked about this, this is grant money. We need to clean up the account. Everything's done in a 66 cents.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Dave, second by everybody. Second by Matt.
Yeah, I got it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Same sign. All the money we've talked about. We're down to the 66
Kathy's had a
cents.
deal with, she had to do an additional for 66 cents.
So you have information in there, aviation manager reports, no action needed on any of those. Any new business from anybody? Yes,
Do you
Tom?
think we could have Kathy come to the next meeting from the health department and kind of give us an update on how things are going? with
That'd be a wonderful idea.
We can ask Kathy, she's just swamped.
Well, I'm sure she is.
What?
Yes, we can ask Kathy. I'm sure she'll be happy to come and
Yeah,
talk with you. It's
I'm
just a
sure she'll
matter
be
of
here.
she's swamped with the vaccinations right now.
She,
Go into that.
the last, she's supposed to be here a month or two ago, and she was so tied up that she couldn't make it here, but, so, need a motion to adjourn. We'll follow up and see if she or somebody from the health department can be here.
So moved.
Motion by Mike Sprinkle, second by Tom, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. If you want to see how much the general fund had in each of the last few years, there you go.